On Thursday, Premier Wabkinew and his government tabled the party's financial plan for the year to come. Should a blanket 25% tariff be imposed, the province will pull out its $1.1 billion plan. $500 million will go toward helping businesses find new markets, giving business loans, and supporting farmers. Joining us now is Terry Shaw from the Prairie chapter of the CME, or the Canadian Manufacturers and Exporters. Good morning, Terry.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Now, before we get to the budget itself, let's talk about where businesses are right now. You know, some of those tariffs, the steel tariffs, have been in place.
Yeah.
How are they doing? How are they coping with all this?
They're struggling. It's a challenge. We talked to a local business in the steel industry looking at significant layoffs. 70% of their workforce is potentially up against the layoff right now. So folks are focused on April 2nd, as they should be. Those are the kind of the global tariffs, but there are tariffs in place right now, and they are causing damage.
And just last week, you were in the States talking to some Republican counterparts. Tell us what you were hearing over there.
So I wasn't down there, but CME was down there with a delegation of our members. 23 meetings over 2 days, all with elected officials, primarily Republicans, and two common themes. They don't understand why the tariffs are being imposed, and they don't support it. They're not saying that overtly, but that's what we heard in our messages pretty consistently. Okay,
so that's somewhat promising, but we still have those tariffs in place, so
yep.
Businesses are still suffering here. Yesterday's budget, there were there's money set aside for business, large business. What was your first impression of the 2025 budget?
It was good. You know, it wasn't overly transformational. It didn't take that big swing, but it was a good budget. There is $500 million set aside in terms of tariff programming. That isn't taking effect yet, and we need something now. So the government has been responsive. We have been in conversation with government around what are the supports today that are available, and so hopefully we'll be able to provide some more comment on that in the coming days. Until then, knowing that the government has tucked away $500 million in terms of tariff supports is something that we're thankful for.
And then what in the budget did you see that you weren't a huge fan of?
I wouldn't say I wasn't a huge fan of it. I would have liked to have seen the province move more, again, take a bigger swing with it, and that was the reductions to the payroll tax. A step in the right direction. It's a one-year move. We've been talking a lot about policy uncertainty lately. Seeing some policy certainty over the long term, a multiple-year strategy around reductions to that payroll tax would be something we would absolutely encourage and support. And again, the amount they reduced it by, $8.5 million over every Manitoba employer, not transformational. A step in the right direction, but we would have liked to have seen a bit more.
Okay, you also want to see more sort of procurement in Canada, companies servicing other provinces rather than dealing with the states at all?
I wouldn't say at all. Again, the reality is the U.S. is too big an economy, and they're just too close. For us to ship something to Toronto is 30 hours. For us to ship something to, you know, North Dakota is 90 minutes. So we're never going to not do business with the United States. But how can we help our own economy more? It's through those procurement reform practices we've been talking about. Made in Manitoba by Canadian.
Right.
We make fire trucks here in Manitoba, specialized vehicles that could be used and purchased by the regional health authorities, blood services. We make ambulances in Saskatchewan. We make transformers here in Manitoba. We need the Canadian Crown Corps and the Canadian governments investing their billions of dollars of public funds in these Canadian manufacturers.
Do you feel that there's movement towards that already?
There's been a lot of talk about it, which is very positive. You know, devil's in the details, and let's start seeing some RFPs and some POs and some checks getting cut, but we definitely like what we're hearing.
Well, we know that an election will likely be called on Sunday. You're just looking forward to getting down to business, so the sooner this election is done, the better, right?
Absolutely, yeah. We need some certainty at the federal level, especially in light of what's going on with our largest trading partner, the United States, so looking forward to seeing what happens there.
Terry, thanks again for your time today.
Thank you.